Hello everyone, I'm Day Weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this September 17th, 2022. It's being brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated and Ag Risk Advisors. As we go into this next week, it's pretty much good news for a lot of the western United States because we do see more rain chances. We also see moderate temperatures. And it looks like a trend towards unsettled weather means good chances of showers, thunderstorms, and a little bit of high country snow, and a wet pattern that will hopefully help the wildfire situation across the west with higher humidity and cooler temperatures and better rain chances. So moderate temperatures with a midweek cool down coming for many areas of the west, and we do see more rain chances, and this includes California. Now, last week, Southern California got rain from the remains of Hurricane K. Now it looks like Central and Northern California and parts of Oregon and the Northern Rockies are going to see a chance of rain. That's really good news. And there's also going to be a hurricane threat for the East Coast late next week, something to keep an eye on. The latest drought monitor shows, again, a lot of what we've seen the same. Very stubborn conditions in this area right here persist while we continue to see improvements in parts of Texas and parts of the southwestern United States. In fact, if you take a look at the drought monitor for the last week, you see these patches of green. This is where drought status conditions have changed for the better. And you can see the rains there in Southern California and up around the Las Vegas area, the rains that fell across parts of northern Wyoming and southern Montana. This is where the rain fell over the last week, and you can see where Hurricane K took its remnants in parts of the southwestern United States, including parts of central and southern California. The strong cold front late last week that brought snow to the northern Rockies brought a nice area of rain and thunderstorm activity to that area there, then into the northern and northwestern areas of the Corn Belt, while Texas, parts of southeastern Colorado, not nearly as wet as it's been here lately. And this is where the precipitation anomaly has been. So you can see these green areas here picking up some beneficial precipitation in the last week. And you know what? That same area I just outlined has a really good chance of seeing more precipitation, as you'll see here in a minute. As we start this forecast period, we've got two things to highlight. First of all, we've got this low coming into the Pacific Northwest, a trough digging in, coming out of the Gulf of Alaska, bringing cooler moist air to the Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, and parts of the West Coast, while we have Tropical Storm Fiona forming. Remember this name, Fiona, because Fiona is likely going to become a hurricane and threaten the East Coast later on by next weekend. Now, what will happen is this storm coming in will split. It'll split with the low going into California and this other part of the low going across the U.S.-Canadian border. So it's a 1-2 punch. First, a cold front. Then the secondary low comes through, and this is by next weekend. By next weekend, the low's over the northern Rockies, bringing cooler, moist air into the region. There's Fiona heading towards the East Coast. And with this area of low pressure moving through, there's a really high probability of rain and thunderstorm activity in many areas. This is the forecast for the next week. A couple of things to highlight. Look at the rain chances right here. We're getting more and more confident that central and northern California is going to get a really nice September rain. That doesn't always happen. And then you can see another arc right here of heavier precipitation going through the central and northern Rockies. Would like to see some of this come out on into the plains, but at least for the interior west, along and west of the divide, it's going to get wet over the next week or so. Some of that will spill out over to the northern plains, while a drier trend is developing in this area right here across the southern areas of the United States before we see, this is the track of Fiona right here, could threaten the southeastern parts of the United States late next week. So it's going to be an active pattern for the western United States, and one that is good. Moderate temperatures and chances for precipitation, and a lot of the wildfires producing a lot of the smoke in this area right here have an opportunity to pick up some rain and some cooler weather and higher humidity. Our next update will be the 24th. Have a great weekend.